Hello friends, welcome back. In this tutorial, we're going to see how to add the muzzle flashes on this kind of action shots. Before I get started, I want to share the reason why I choose this topic today. I have seen many videos earlier and I have seen that people are doing it in a wrong way, and the correct way is not very difficult or not very tricky. There are like very simple tricks to make it look more integrated and correct one. Let's take a look at this, some of the examples that I have got. Like for this one, if you see the edges of this muzzle flash looks very harsh, and we can see the black or dark halo around it and this kind of dark patches. This is not even brighter, and also we're getting this kind of clumpy effect. And this one, for example, we get this kind of hard edges and the black patches all around the muzzle flash. And this one looks more brighter, looks a bit better than the previous one, but still we get this kind of black edge and very harsh edges, which looks like it's not integrated and not part of this gun. And for example, this one is really bad one, and I have took the single frame of the same video that we are going to work today and added the muzzle flash. One on the screen left is looks more integrated and very smooth than the one on the screen right. The reason is very simple, because we see this kind of dark halo and very sharp edges makes it looks very unnatural, and this muzzle flash is the same one on the screen left, but just the blending mode of that muzzle flash makes it look more better. So basically the idea is, like, when you work on the muzzle flash, there are 3 or 4 points which is really important to make it look more integrated and look better one. First one, choose the right muzzle flash. Second one, use the correct blending mode. Third one, add some interactive light or bloom around it. And fourth point is add any extra elements like bullet shells or extra overall bloom on the screen, or anything that can bring more sense to your muzzle flash. So we're going to see some of those techniques and tricks in this tutorial, so let's get started. This is the shot I took from Action VFX. You can find it very easily. I'll share the link in the description. So this shot is MOV, and I'm going to convert into an EXR sequence, but before that, let's set the project. Press S in the node graph. The project is set on 150 frames. We have the 150 frames in the shots, but in the end we are seeing the Action VFX logo is popping in. So we'll just use 125 frames. Press S in the keyboard again and make it 125, the last frame, and APS is going to be 24, and the shot is 2K. And I will set the color space to Nuke OCIO. We get the error once we set the OCIO, so we need to change that. Let's go to the color space and make it output sRGB and keep the auto alpha on. I want to convert this into an EXR first. So I have this EXR now. I rendered this into an EXR. I'll remove the MOV file. Sometimes that MOV makes the file heavy. I'll keep the EXR here, turn on the auto alpha. Before I do anything, I want to get the character matte here. So I'll use the depth anything node to create the matte. Go to the first frame and I'll use the depth anything node. So any node you see which is not in Nuke by default, I'm going to share the link for that gizmo or node in the description. Please check that. So depth anything, I'll just view it from the depth anything and get the character matte. So I'll use this depth anything node to create the matte. I have already explained this in one of my video. Please check that if you don't know how to use it. It's very simple one, and I have rendered that matte. So this is the rough matte I got, because sometimes I need to add some kind of interactive light or anything on the character. So this matte is going to help me. So let's keep that here and delete this one. So now I have the plate and I have the rough matte of the character. Okay, so I just created the shortcuts and stamps for this. One is scan and one is rough matte. Let's jump on the next point. I have this muzzle flash. I really don't remember from where did I get this one, because this is one of the oldest element that I have. You can get some of the muzzle flash from the production crate, which is free, or if you don't get this kind of muzzle flashes, please let me know in the comments and I can share you this muzzle flash. First I will use the reformat. And remember, whenever you just grab any element into the shot, when the project is set on the OCIO, you will get this kind of error. So double click the footage and go to the color space and make it output, so your footage will be visible. So let's use this element as a muzzle flash on the shot. Let's take a merge node and simply just merge it on the shot first. Take this scan here. So if I see the merge node, now the operation or the blending mode is set on the over. That's why we get this kind of harsh edge or very rough edges, which, since the element is bit better, we get this less black halo, but we still get that kind of halo. But before that, we'll set the position and the size of that element. I'll take a transform node and let's set it like this. So the orientation is not correct. Let's make that look a bit better. I'll just keep it like this and just size. Nowadays you can find better elements as well, like if you spend a couple of bucks or sometimes you get free as well, so those elements will be more better. This is the oldest one I have. I just wanted to show the simple techniques of blending mode and getting that kind of bloom, and that's the reason I'm using this old one, but still it's gonna work for this kind of fast shots. So let's try that. So now if I see that we get this kind of hard edge, we'll just fix that quickly. First set it on the plus mode and see how much of this will get better. We're getting already good edges here. Once we set, let's see the difference, which is on plus mode, we get this kind of black edges. Let's see it by bit close. This is on over mode by default. If I just set it on screen or the plus, it will get bit integrated edges, so that's what we want here. Now I will play with the color of the muzzle flash. I'll simply take a grade node here and I will get it more something like this, and let's add some color tone as well. Like this one is getting green, so I'll make it a bit reddish. This kind of warm feel is good because we're going to add some bloom and also we'll get that more brighter warm feel. Let's bring this, we get this kind of edge. I'll just take down this gamma, something like this. By doing this simple grading, we can see that it's feeling hotter and as well as bit integrated. I will take an exposure node and make it bright, because if I see it's getting very clampy. So if I just adjust the values in the exposure, like I'll make it 0.5 or something, 0.4 is pretty good. So we need this kind of hot wheel. It looks too bright at the moment, but when we add the bloom and all, it will look more better after the 2D stuff. So we haven't done anything, just play it and see how that looks without any track or without anything. Okay, we're getting a better impact. Let's frame hold this for now before we track this, and I'll put this frame hold here. And I don't want to hurt this transform. I'll take one more transform node just to animate it. Put the pivot point here and I'll just make it less visible so we can track it. Since this shot is very shaky, or this point of gun is very shaky, we need to do a manual transformation. Like I'll just put a key here, set key, and I'll do it by frame by frame. Now if I see my pivot point is moving here, just like that, and keep doing that till you get the basic track. We don't have to be very precise because the muzzle flash is like on and off for the frames, so it's okay if I get like not accurate position, but try to be in that circle of the gun point. Spent some time and I just animated this transform node for the muzzle flash, and for some reasons I just removed the another transform that I used before and I did all in one. That's not really important. You can just use multiple transforms or you can use in one. That's really simple one. Let's remove this frame wall now. We don't want this anymore because we already tracked it. Now if I play the muzzle flash, we can see the muzzle flash is getting off after the frame 15, so we need to keep it on loop. So use a retime for that. Grab a retime and just connect it here and view it from the retime. Click on this both the options and make it 15, because after 15 it's getting off. And I will just keep it on none and I will make it on loop. So now we see that muzzle flash will not end, it will keep playing forever. Let's connect that and now see it from here. Okay, that's looking really good. We just did the tracking and we just looped it by using the retime, and we just merged it on the shot using the plus blending mode. Now let's make some adjustments on the grading and all. Let's take it up. Now on the first frame, we did the grading for the muzzle flash. We made it a bit warmer, but because of that our smoke is getting warmer. So we need to do some 2D fixes. Like if I take a CC node and I'll remove the saturation of that muzzle flash, If I go back, now my muzzle flash is getting desaturated, but we want the desaturation only on the smoke. So I will add a roto and connect it to the mask of that color correction node, and I'll simply do a simple masking. Let's view it from this muzzle flash here. We don't read the smoke. I'll increase the gain of the viewport, and just by doing this kind of masking, we can do a simple grading on that smoke to make it less warm.
A few moments later.
So just like that, I did the roto, and we can see our smoke is not getting warmer just because of that color correction node, which is on 0 saturation. Well, the next point is adding the guardrails on the muzzle flash element, because we read this kind of very prominent and sharp edge. So we need to get some kind of motion blur thing, or more like a power on the muzzle flash. Let's take a guardrails, and I'll add it here and take the center point here, and I'll just increase the scale. So the reason we added this cartridge is because we're getting this kind of blended motion blurry edges, which is really good for the muzzle flash shots, and it will look better when we play the shot. Now if I play, that muzzle flash is looking the same on almost all the frames, so we need to add some variations, like on the, for example, on this frame, I'll take one more different muzzle flash. I took this element because it has some extra shapes in it, and I'm just pre-melted it. And this is from production crate. I have shared the link for this one, and did some grading, make it warmer, and like just added some white point values, and remove the red values because it was too red before, and added some extra highlights. Like if I just decrease it, you can see the clamping effect, so I'm just making it a bit brighter. And overall grade, and I'm just using this as an extra element in some of the frames. This one is also tracked with the gun point, so if I just merge it with the gun, you will see that it's the same thing we did for the previous muzzle flash. So we're just playing it, and we're not going to use it for all the frames. I'm just going to use it for 1 or 2 frames, like just to bring the variation in the muzzle flash of this one. So for that, I'll just add this here, the merge, and now this one is added here, and I'll keep it on plus mode. So now we can see that some of the variation is getting there in that muzzle flash. Why not using it all the frames, just for any random frames? I'll keep it on for the first frame, go to the next frame, I will make it 0, and I don't want to creep on these frames. For example, this one is looking a bit weird, so I'll keep it 1 here and make it 0, and make it 0 here. So it's like random, it's not like for all the frames. Let's get this one here, make it 0. So in the play we get that kind of variation. That is what we want, and that's the reason we added this one. So next point is, let's turn off the muzzle flash once he got hit. Like on this frame, I think he got hit by another person or another gun. So let's turn this off around here. Let's turn it off after this one. I'll use a multiply and make it 0, and before that keep it 1. Let's play it. Cool. So we don't see that muzzle flash after that frame. You see the extra bounding box, set box to B, so we'll not see the extra, so we'll not read the extra data. Now second thing is adding some bloom. For that we are going to use one more node called Epiglow. That is one of the free gizmo. I have shared the link. This one, I'll connect this one here, and let's go to the first frame. I'll keep it very less and make it 0.72 or something like that, and let's merge it on the shot. We'll put it in plus mode, so we get this kind of bloom, which is really good interactive light for this kind of muzzle flash shots. So if let's put this on B first, and let's play it. So we get that kind of bloom when the muzzle flash is happening. This is really cool for the muzzle flash. There is one more trick that will help this here. Like for example, if I go to this frame, now we have this bloom and we have this muzzle flash, but there is something missing in between this both the layer. So I'll grab an edge blur, and I'll just increase the values of that edge blur. So we're adding the edge blur on the main layer, not on the bloom. So if I see it here, we added the edge blur here, and I'll reduce the mix values. I'll keep it very less, so we get that kind of subtle interactive light around the muzzle flash. Let's turn this off and you can see a bit of difference, or this kind of atmospheric glow around this muzzle flash. And then we have this overall glow or bloom. Now there's one more simple technique which I really like to add for this kind of shots. I will go to the first frame and I want to add some extra sparks out of the gun, and there are already some sparks in the element, but I'm going to add some more. So for that I will take a constant node here and I'll just use the speaker and pick any of this color here in the brightness and keep it on RGBA and keep the value 1 here and just simply merge it on the shot. And I will take a mask here, use a mask, and I will take a paint node, connect it here, take this brush node, make the brush point very small, and I'll just simply add this kind of sparks here. This is very small thing, but this will give more impact to the shot. Likewise, you can keep adding, and let's play it and see how that looks. So those sparks are that kind of element will bring a lot of sense to the shot. If I just weave it here, you can understand that. These kind of extra elements will definitely help a lot for these kind of shots. Now the next point is adding an interactive light on the character face and some of the interactive light on the wall as well. So for that I will just make some more space here. Let's bring that up and let's view this and take a gear node here. I'll take a luminance values like around something like this, because we need to read some of the highlights on the face and some of the part of the body, and I will pre-mult it. So we got this kind of range of the plate, and I will simply just make it a bit warmer like a muzzle flash color, increase the white point, and I'll just play with the color. I'll make it more warm and slightly more warmer. I think something like this is fine. Let's make the red more red. Okay, this is kind of cool because we get that kind of muzzle flash interaction on the face and the wall. Now this time I will use that rough mask we did. I'll just take that rough mask here and I'll do a basic grade to make our matte look prominent. Something like that. And I'll just mask it inside the rough mask. So now we're just reading that interactive light only on the character face and the body. And I'll merge it on the footage and keep it on the plus mode. Now it looks very diffuse, so I'll just add optical glow node and it will look a bit glowy, and I'll play with the values. Like the size is too big, I'll make it 60, and intensity is good, gamma is good. I'll just keep rest of the things as it is, and we don't want that everywhere, we just want that on this area. So we'll just mask one more time here, and I'll take this, I'll put it on the mask again. I'll take a roto and we can just add it here, something like this, and then animate this roto as for the character motion. Right now I'm doing it rough, but later I can do it more better for the QC, but for this purpose I'm just keeping it here. That's quite good. Now our interaction light is for all the frames. Now we need to animate it. For that we can do a couple of things. Like there is one more option, you can take the average or the intensity of these values and you can match that using the average values and all, but I'm not going to use that. I'll just use a multiply node here and I'll just keep it on the constant. I'll take a constant, the white color, make the alpha RGBA and keep the value 1, and I'll just use this constant as per the muzzle flash. So let's turn off this and just view from this multiply. So whenever I see the muzzle flash, the values of this multiply will be 1, and when there is no muzzle flash, the values will be 0. So very simple. I'll keep the values 1 here, and on next frame 0. Likewise on this frame it will be 0, and next frame it will be 1, and then keep doing it and you will get that multiply here, and you don't need to do it for all the frames. Do it only till the 15th frame, because after that we have did the right retime node here, so we can use the same retime node and we can loop that effect. So let's go and do that quickly. Next from 0. Yeah, so we have only 15 frames here, and if I see the multiply, it will animate till 15 frames. Now we want to keep it on loop, so I'll use this retime and I'll keep it here and play it like this. And now this is going forever. Now we need to end this around 60 frames, where we have added this multiply to end the muzzle flash. So I will use the muzzle same multiply node here, so that our this constant will turn off after the frame 60 or 63. Now this is the mask for the interactive or interaction light or the timing of the muzzle flashes. So I'll keep it here, and I'm going to mask it. For this face interaction, I'm going to add a merge node here and mask it. So now my interaction light will just animate just like the muzzle flash. Now just view it from the shot and let's see how that looks. Okay, we're getting really good interactive light, and which is animating as per the muzzle flash, which is really good. Now let's add the interactive light on the wall as well. For that, I will simply take a grade node and make it brighter and warmer. Not really big thing, just some kind of interactive light around the walls. I'll just do a roto here, basic roto, and I'll add one more roto around here as well. Keep it like this. And from this roto, we're going to minus the character matte, which we have the rough matte here. I'll take the rough matte, I'll do the grading again, keep it on RGBA, view it from this, see the alpha, and make it a bit brighter and something like that. And then just connect this here, that we have this roto, and I'm going to stencil that from that roto, so we don't affect this grid on the character but just on the walls. Then the same thing, we are going to use this multiply, because now we don't want this interactive light on all the frames, just on the muzzle flash frames. So take one more mask, connect this A to this multiply for the constant of the timing of the muzzle flash, and then mask it. So now this only will affect on the muzzle flash frames. Let's view it from the shot. That looks better. Okay, this is very simple and basic idea of adding the muzzle flash and this kind of interactive light. We are going to add some interactive glow or the atmospheric glow in the shots. For that, I will just take the merge node here, place it on top of the shot, take a dot, and I will connect it to this glow, or before that anything is fine. And if I just view it, any muzzle flash frame, let's keep it on global and merge it on the shot. Now everything looks subtle. I'll take a blur node and I will make it value like 1000. So we get this kind of atmospheric bloom on the muzzle flash frame, and I'll just keep the values very less, something like this, and I'll keep it on plus. Now play it, and we get that kind of extra bloom on the frame, which is giving more sense to the muzzle flash, because he is facing towards the camera and it should read more or impact more on the lens or the glass of the lens. Yeah, that's pretty cool. We're not using any plugin or anything, just simple blur and the blending mode of that merge will give that kind of effect. Now I want to add some lens flare kind of thing on this point here. For that, there are multiple things. We can simply do one simple technique here. I'll take a dot here and I'll connect to this, or I'll just take this dot and connect before the glow and only to this transform, and I'll copy this multiply because we need to turn it off after few frames. So on this frame, I'll just take a gear and crunch it so we don't see that smoke on the next frame, and I will take an erode node and keep it on RGBA and make the values very strong to make it very less. We get this kind of only dot here for the muzzle flash, and I'll mask it. So we have this alpha and we have this muzzle flash. We're just masking it to get this kind of dot, and I will just blur it only on the width like 1000 and just merge it on the shot. and keep it on plus mode, and value should be very less. And I will add a blur node one more time here, just a little bit of blur, so we get that kind of lens flare here. Yeah, so we have added one more interactive lens flare, we have added the bloom, we have added the extra sparks, we have added the overall bloom on the muzzle flash around the muzzle flash edges, and the interactive light on the character. And this character interactive light looks a bit weird. We can play with the gear here and make it very less, and if you feel like it's very artificial, just play with the luminance values and keys and you can get that kind of better values. And play with the colors and all, it's getting too green, so I'm reducing that, and I'll just play with the values so it's getting more integrated and better look. And we have added the interactive light on the wall as well. So these are like main key points to the muzzle flash and the secondary elements. So this is the basic idea of it. The shot was looking bit very basic, so there was one simple idea of adding the shells coming out of the gun. I just created this bullet shells coming out of the gun in Blender, which is really easy by doing the object tracking and some particle thing. I will show how to create it in Blender. Let's open the Blender file first. So let's see how to create the shells coming out of the gun after the firing. So let's take a plane first. This will be our emitter. So this is the basic idea, and then I'll show the actual file of this. So first I'll take a plane and I'll call it as emitter. I'll just put it on the folder. And we need the emitter objects. So I'll just call it shells or bullet shells. This is the object that we're going to emit. I'll take a cylinder. So let's assume this is the bullet shell and this is the emitter. I will click to this emitter and select the particles, go to the particle system, and I'm not going to add more. I'll just use 25 or 50 particles emitting. The particles are emitting. Now in the physics, now in the renders, go to this render as hello and we'll select the collection, and in the instance collection we'll just select these shells. So now that emitter will emit the cylinder that we chose here as the shells, and the size is too small. I will make it 0.1 to make it bigger, or maybe 0.5 is quite good. Now our emitter is emitting the cylinders, which is the bullet shell. I'll slightly rotate it a bit and play it again. Okay, those have no rotation, so in the rotation here, click the rotation and I'll keep that dynamic, and let's play it. Okay, that's not good. Let's remove the dynamic and see. In rotation, let's make the randomize 1 and see how that looks. Okay, much better. Go to the force field and I'll make the force here around 5 and let's play it. Not a big change, but that is fine. Now I will add a force field here and remove that force field from the emitter from the shell and keep it separate, and I'll just place it around here. Yeah, something like that. So this is our basic bullet idea. So not really any big thing, just particle. I've added the particle and the emitter object. This is the emitter object and this. So this is very simple technique or simple idea just to create that kind of bullet shells are coming out of the gun. Now we'll use the same technique, and before that we need to object track the shot. Let me open that file and show that too. So this is my Blender file for the bullet shells. This is my main file. I have tracked the gun by doing the manual tracking for the gun. This is object tracking, and if you don't know how to do the object tracking, please check out my one of the videos, or there are plenty of videos on the YouTube to get this kind of idea how to track the any object in your shot and stick anything to that point. I did the manual tracking here, like I took some of the highlighted points to get the track. I applied that emitter here. So this is my emitter. I have just applied that emitter to this object and added that emitter, and I have used one of the bullet object here. So this is the bullet object I have, and I used it from the sketchpad. This is free one. I'm sharing the link in this description. And let's take a look at this. This is just emitting that bullet shell from that plane, and that plane is connected to the gun. Simple basic technique of adding these shells to the shot. So I know this might looks very complicated, but if you check my video of how to do the 2D tracking, you will understand that and use that method to stick this plane, and use this method of emitting the particles from the plane, and you can get that kind of shells. So the idea is very simple. Take a plane and emit the object from that plane like this bullet and bullet shells, and track your object in Blender like 3D tracking, and then stick that plane to your track, and then that will go along with the motion of that gun, and you can get this kind of bullets coming out of the or the shell coming out of the gun. Then I used the CG render in my shot and placed it. I did some grading, like it was too saturated, then reduced some saturation and added some highlights as well, like on the bullet flash frames here. Like whenever the flash is happening, my bullets will get kind of that kind of lensing here, so it will just bring some impact on the shiny feel of the or shiny nature of the shells. The next point is adding some atmospheric smoke when the flash is happening. For that, I have a very simple idea here. Like I have some 2D elements which is free from production crate. If you just type this free, and you'll get this kind of smoke in the production crate. So I have this smoke here. Use the smoke for multiple times. Like for example, if I go to this frame, and on first frame the muzzle flash is happening, so I'll keep it like this. So after 2 or 3 frames, I'll just time offset it and merge it on top of the shot again, and I'll make it like around here on 11th frame, or see the frame where the muzzle flash is happening on. Okay, on this frame, 13th frame, I'll go to the frame 13, and okay, I'll keep it like this. So now, and before that I'll multiply it here. I'll use a multiply node, and before the frame 13th it will go off, so nothing will be visible there. So if I just play it, so if I play and see, my second smoke will be rising here. Now I don't want in the same direction. I will use a mirror and make it horizontal, and then transform it and keep it on the center, on the null point of the gun point here. Yeah, so you can keep adding these kind of smokes. Use different elements. I'll use one more different element here. Now this is another element I have to get the variation. I'll place it here and use one more different frame, like go here and see which frame is good. I'll use the frame 22 and time offset here to the 22. On 22nd frame it will happen. On 21st frame I will just turn it off. So on 21st it will go off, and then if I play, so we get that next element here, which is this one. Yeah, and then I don't want to keep it on the same direction, so I will just keep it like this, so we get the variation in the gunshot. And now you can add this on top. Like this is only 3, but you can add it multiple times, like maybe 10 times, so we get that kind of blast or smoke effect out coming out of the gun whenever the blast is happening. And then I'll keep it on plus mode, and I'll just reduce the intensity. I'll keep it very less, and let's bring this using the transform. I'll bring this whole element on this, and I will track it, or just don't track it, leave it on the shot, because it should be very free. We should not feel like it's tracking. So we get that kind of feel here. So likewise, we can play a lot with the elements. Like it's not only for 3 frames, you can keep it till the end. Like on the 63rd frame here, we have nothing, so we want to keep one more dust smoke there. So I can use this again, and I'll use a time offset, and I'll make it 62 and place it here again. And add a multiply, and before 62 frame it will go off, just like that. just on the last frame we want that kind of hit, and then everything will go off. Now the smoke is floating, so you can do one thing, do a 2D track. So I tracked the wall here. I just took this wall point here and tracked it, and I just placed that tracker to get that kind of whole the scene track on the element, because that element is not floating in the shot. If I don't do that 2D tracking, then our shot will look, our 2D element will look very floaty, which is not actually correct. See the difference here. So just add that kind of 2D tracking. I have made my shot look a bit different color here. Like if I go to any frame without the muzzle flash, let's take this as a frame and let's place this. I made my shot a bit greenish. I don't wanted a very magenta feel on the shot or very pinkish feel. So I just turned some values down and made the shot bit greener, and to get that kind of cinematic effect. So this is the basic idea of doing the muzzle flash work, and the basic idea is very simple: adding the muzzle flash using the correct blending mode, using the correct element, adding some overall bloom on the muzzle flash frames and interactive light on the character or on the surrounding areas, and extra 2D elements like smoke or sparks or anything like that, and make your shot look more better. And I just wanted to play with my shot, and I wanted to give some more drama to the shot, so I added these bullet hits and tracers and extra lensing stuff on like grain and overall color grading. But you can keep playing the shot. And for the elements, I have shared the links. All of them are free, and some of the muzzle flashes are too old, but if you want, please comment me and I can send you the file of that muzzle flash. And there is one more thing, that if you want the bullet shell blender file, please comment me for that as well. I can share you the blender file for the bullet shell track, because doing the object tracking is a bit difficult for the beginners. So if you want my file, please reach me out and I'm happy to provide that too. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If something is not clear or very difficult to understand, please let me know in the comments and I can just chat with you. And if you have anything else, please let me know in the comment too. And see you in the next video. Enjoy.